So this is the first in a series of Chance's View vids, and in early June, during our Jubilee weekend, I travelled down to London with my youngest to visit my mum, and also to make a delayed pilgrimage to Hendon Aircraft Museum and have a nose around Hendon's model shop. So for the first 3 weekends in June, we've been doing things. So after this vid will come a bit about the crew model show, and then another one about Oswestry vintage vehicle, steam rally, and a little model show as well there. So we'll first begin. As I will state before, I've always, for many years, very many years, I've managed to make a annual visit to Hendon Aircraft Museum, with 2020 and 2021 being the first time since the 1970s that I haven't been able to do that. So in coming to the museum, one thing, and I will comment on this, is that it's been gone through major restructuring, and I realise and understand that museums can't be static. They have to be dynamic, they have to change, develop, and move with the times. And I did feel sad that at Hendon that involved a major disruption to the brilliant Battle of Britain collection, which some of the aircraft are still there, but others they have redistributed amongst other museums in the UK, which is okay. I suppose you have to. It just used to feel like a very coherent, well-defined collection that told the story of the Battle of Britain. But okay, fair enough, that's been reworked. We still have the motor boats that we use for air sea rescue, and the first part of the museum that you go into is very much geared up as being a multimedia experience for introducing youngsters to the RAF and to aviation in general. And I realise that in terms of accessibility, in terms of education, and let's face it, in terms of recruitment or starting them young, so to speak, it's important that it has to be done. And yes, while I've had my reservations about it, things have to move on, things have to change, and things have to evolve. So, and this is part of it. So we'll now have a series of video clips that I took while walking around the museum. Also note at this time that the Bomber Command collection was undergoing reorganisation, so that wasn't at its usual narrative standard. And I make the comment that I couldn't find that they'd taken out Barnes Wallace's office. No, they hadn't. That had simply been moved. But I still feel they're in the process of reworking that. And again, as I say, museums can't be static affairs. They've got to move on, evolve with the time, rework exhibits. And that's part of the game, part of their business, attracting new visitors and evolving and developing. All things must change. And so if I do voice some views of disappointment, I do accept there's been some good parts as well. Here I am at a little trip out to the RAF Museum at Hendon. I haven't been here since 2019 because of COVID, but this is a place I'd made an annual pilgrimage to, or made a annual trip to since 1976. I think it was the first year I came here as a young lad, and having a little walk around, visiting my mum in London, so invariably a trip to Hendon's model shop and Hendon Aircraft Museum. So in the First World War section, really like what they've done with this hangar and the way they display and present things here. So I must admit, though I feel gutted about what they did with the Battle of Britain collection, this part really does. This hangar kind of makes up for it. An aircraft museum as it should be. So that's just me, I suppose. So a little look at the Avro behind me. And there's behind us is my youngest daughter, Iona. I dragged her here, poor kid, but in her own quiet manner she's having a good nose around. So yeah, we're having a bit of a special trip for me today. So continuing my nose around here. I'm not going to record too much as I've not that much storage left on this phone. Right. Girls, stop with triplane. Amazing aircraft. There's just a quiet dignity about this hall that I really like. I've always liked about them. They did a brilliant part of this collection. The Dolphin. And an albatross over there. I love the work. I think looking at that aircraft, just the craftsmanship of the woodwork is absolutely amazing. Skinned in plywood and the woodworking skill required for something like this. I mean, you've got to take your hats off to them. I do love that. And that beautiful finish. I love that quality of that woodwork. Fabric skinning on the flying surfaces and on the wings. We see a Bristol fighter open up with a wire brace structure. And this used to be in the main museum. So nice. Now when I compare it with aircraft structures of today, I think just the handcrafting involved in this and the carpentry skills required, I suppose there's just beauty, such beauty in construction. The delicacy of the components, creating such a rigid structure. So much to like when you look at this. Hercules, Chinook Nose, Tornado, Jaguar, Eurofighter Typhoon, and for some odd reason the nose of a Mitchell. Okay, fair enough. And of course a Predator. Drawn over there, lovely collection. The main thing is really I think the star of this place is the Buccaneer in Desert Storm pink in its original weathered condition. I think just from a modeller's reference point of view, this is an amazing aircraft. So much reference can be gained from this, on how to do your staining, your panel lines, your fading, your weathering. Absolutely excellent. And because it's indoors, it's kept in a decent condition like this. And things like the fitting of the intake covers. Yeah, definitely the best part. And a Harrier GR9 of number 1 Squadron. Having a bit of an amble in here, around the main hall.
A safe distance for models. Thank you for your cooperation and support.
P40 Kitty Hawk. That scheme. Little Ouster up there. Hawker Hunter. One of the most beautiful jets ever built. P47 in Australian markings. Hawker. Art. Again, one of those beautiful biplanes ever built. Late Mark Spitfire. This is Spitfire Mark 24, blimey. It really is late. Still, you can't fault the lines. The Havilland Chipmunk. The only RAF type I've been up in. With their experience flying. One of these when I was in the Combined Cadet Force from RAF Benson. I've really got to do a model of one of these sometime. It's definitely on my list as a display, as a special display piece. So, beautiful aircraft, little aircraft. And one of the types that was also assembled at Broughton where I work. So, being at the Havilland, T6 Texan, Hawker Typhoon, the rockets. You'll have to give somebody a bad day in Normandy. Gorgeous aircraft there, just pure flying muscle. What I really like all this bloody background music. It's a bit irritating, but fancy. So, Bristol Beaufighter. It's only when you get up close to one you realise just what an absolute beast of an aircraft this was. I suppose the size, you don't appreciate the size of this in a kit. That is an absolute, for a twin-engined, two-seat aircraft, it has a thuggish appearance that I must admit I really like. Glorious aircraft, always lovely. Can't remember a time when this wasn't here at Hendon, even back in the 1970s, and brilliant aircraft. And then next to it, the Beaufort, which fairly recently has been graced with an excellent kit by Airfix. So, what you really need here is a Bristol Brigand, and I think Hendon would have the Bristol twin set, but still could do with the machine guns in place, but nonetheless still great to see a Beaufort when you consider the number of crew it carried compared to a Beaufighter, and yet it was still the same platform. Lockheed Hudson. In its transport version. It'd be nice to have the Coastal Command version, but Royal Australian Air Force transport version is still damn nice to see. And then we go up to see a Stranraer. Designed by the same fellow that designed the Spitfire, R.J. Mitchell, when he worked for Supermarine. Again, an aircraft. I do not remember this not being here at Hendon. Even back in the 1970s it graced this corner. Maybe just moving and dismantling this thing would be too much work and too much of a nightmare, but this lady has occupied this little corner of the main hall for as long as I've been coming here. So I think that when this hall was first built, she must have been one of the early residents. I think about all the people who've seen her over the years. Beautiful aircraft though. I mean, a gorgeous, gorgeous flying boat. So worthy of admiration for the work on her design. My voice here. For some reason they're insisting on having live music. Far too loud. So into the Bomber Command Museum. They've lost Barnes Wallace's office. Okay, I know museums have got to stay fresh and be reworked, but lovely to see the B-17 ferry battle. HS-126 Salamander, 163 Comet, good old P-51. What aircraft museum would you complete without one of these? Lysander. I suppose appropriate with the SOE. Always amazing to see this aircraft. As a kid I used to have a big old poster of this. Oops. I think this is as long as the Bomber Command Museum opened up. Oh, shut this off, this noise is actually irritating. undergoing a period of reorganisation. The Avro Anson, there's a new airfix kit of this in 148. You can well imagine they came here for a lot of their reference work. And this is where they moved the good old JU-87. Yeah. I hang for 111. Millennium's still here. Oh, the high call 111. Lovely to see the BF-109 is here. Getting a little bit low on memory now, so I have to move these videos over to another location. But still, absolutely wonderful to see this. The Fiat Falco. And another link with Airbus Broughton. Or Broughton, the De Havilland Vampire. There's another type built here. That rolled out of the hangars there. Oh, is it like a little aircraft that? Moving on to a camera.
Company's test site on a 6,000-foot high-speed sled.
One of the times that I don't remember not being here. And finally, a good old English electric lightning. Still a glorious, glorious this aircraft. Two jet engine, the pilot hanging on for dear life.